afternoon from Los Angeles and happy Friday. Welcome to Stock Market Today. On today's show, we're analyzing a gold play as well as taking a look at a blue chip leader and Apple. But we begin with a look at the major indexes. It's Alyssa Corum here with Ken Shreve. And Ken, it was a rough day in the stock market. Tech stocks getting hit the hardest. The Nasdaq closing down about 1.8%. The S&P also down over 1%. The Dow down about 0.8%. So not a great way to finish off the week, but we've actually been saying that a pullback would be healthy.
Yeah, well, it was really, it's turning out to be the second straight day of institutional selling in the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. We had a higher volume decline on Thursday, another higher volume decline on Friday. So that tells us that there's some institutional selling in the market that needs to be heeded. It certainly right now is the time to kind of take stock of your current holdings and recognize sell signals. There's nothing wrong with trimming some gains here, maybe even locking in full profits in some strong performing growth stocks. So starting to see some meaningful signs of institutional selling in the market. We'll see what next week holds, but defense is a good posture right now.
Yeah, good time to be raising some cash. And interesting to note also that the Nasdaq is still holding above that 21-day exponential moving average. That has been an area that we have tested since the start of this rally in October. So seems like that will be the key level to watch next week.
Yeah, it's not like the Nasdaq has suffered a tremendous amount of technical damage yet. In the big picture column earlier this week, I said, at one point this week, the Nasdaq would have to pull back 5% just to get to its 50-day moving average, and its uptrend would still be intact. That's just because the market has rallied so strongly. So we may end up getting a test of the 50-day line for the Nasdaq, but that's still a ways from happening. Right now, like you said, it's holding support at the 21-day.
Right, and Ken, you mentioned getting defensive, so let's check in on a gold stock play. That is the Van Eck Vectors Gold Miner ETF. Ticker there is GDX, breaking out today, closing up with a gain of about 3%. So, and we've seen buying coming into this ETF all week.
Yeah, well, I think it's an interesting ETF to talk about because the market is starting to get defensive. So gold stocks have been in favor. There's a lot of extended gold miners out there, but this ETF is actually still in buy range from a 29.97 buy point here. So if you're looking for some exposure to gold, want to play a little defense, the GDX is a good option, and also the GDXJ, which is the Junior Gold Miners ETF. That one is still in buy range as well. So the market's playing a little defense here. We have gold rallying, we have bonds rallying. It's a tricky market. Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on, let's take a look at a blue chip stock that we've been keeping tabs on. Unitedhealth holding up today, still trading right around that psychological 300 price level. This is a weekly chart here, so we did see a shakeout several weeks ago, and it held up despite all the volatility this week.
Well, there were, first of all, a lot of Dow stocks today that held up well. I mean, the selling was the least prominent in the Dow today, but Unitedhealth was down 1.1% intraday, and it basically closed flat, or maybe just down 0.1 or 0.2%. So this is still a strong performing stock in the Dow. You do get a nice dividend with UNH, and I was looking at other stocks in the Dow like Johnson & Johnson and Procter & Gamble. Some of these charts look pretty good, but not surprising. When the market gets defensive, sometimes it goes into blue chip, safer names. But both Procter & Gamble and Johnson & Johnson still stocks that are kind of actionable here.
Yeah. And with UNH, we've been saying that this could be potentially one for the portfolio over the long term. If you're looking for something that's not quite, if we take a look at a monthly chart, we can see the big long-term move here, but it's not going to be, you would hope, quite as volatile as some of the hot young growth stocks.
Yeah, it definitely has the look of a long-term leader. It's a proven winner, and it's really showing good action at its 10-week moving average, still holding above the line. And again, the fact that the stock was able to recover so impressively aggressively today. Definitely saw some buying demand. So Unitedhealth Group still looks good here.
Yes, and last but not least, Apple fell 2.3% today. Its lowest close below the 21-day moving average since its breakout last September, Ken, and it's now approaching that key 50-day moving average.
Yeah, so Microsoft and Apple were pretty hard hit in the Dow today. Not seeing any sell signals with Apple. People with a nice profit in this stock. Nothing wrong with waiting to see what a possible test of the 50-day moving average looks like. It's a good visual of that 50-day moving average in red. And Apple's such a strong stock. We'll see if it can test the 50-day for the first time. I mean, it's pretty incredible during the stock's breakout. What did we say in September? I think it last broke out of a base. It hasn't even touched its 50-day yet. So maybe we get a first test of the 50-day line.
And then if the market starts shaping up again, would that be potentially an area to either add to a position here, or if you're more aggressive, initiate a position, since we do say that bounce off of the 50-day?
No question
is a
about
chance
it.
to do that.
This would be the first test if it does get down to that red line, and you'd like to see a good bounce with conviction. You'd like to see buyers come in and offer support. So if it can, pay a visit to the 50-day line and bounce with some conviction, that would absolutely be an add-on entry, or even a place to nibble for the first time.
Yeah, and if we do see the market continue to consolidate here, maybe we see a new flat base for Apple, but we'll definitely keep tabs on that. But one thing's for sure, it's still up over 40%, even with the decline today. All right, everyone, thank you for watching. The in-depth conversation will continue next week on IBD Live, and especially with the changing character in the market, it's going to be an even more pivotal time to tune in.
Yeah, no question about it. And I would be remiss not to mention two really strong stocks today amid a lot of selling in the broad market. Tesla, which was very impressive again, and also Domino's Pizza, which we added to leaderboard yesterday on a bullish gap up on earnings. Both of those stocks held up really well today in light of the market selling. But, stocks like this we talk about all the time on IBD Live, and we'll be back Monday for more.
That we will, getting into the nitty gritty of the buy points, adding, selling, position sizing, all of that good stuff. So make sure you check out investors.com/IBD Live for all the details. And in case you missed it, this week's podcast dropped yesterday. So make sure you check that out at investors.com/podcast. It's another great one, taking a look at some widely followed stocks and potentially how they can get on your radar before they make big moves. All right, everyone, that's it from us for this week, and we'll see you right back here next week.
When I looked at you and I